Shalom. Good morning.
Good morning, Boker Tov.
Good morning, Boker Tov.
Welcome back to the study. We're going to continue in Parshah Acharei-Kedoshim. It's two parashas together. So Acharei means after the death of Aharon's children, and Kedoshim means holy, and giving them rules and laws about being holy, being righteous. So we are on chapter 18. We're going to look at chapter 18 in Vayikra, 18 and 19. And these are basically chapters where he's preparing his people to come into the land that he's giving them. Okay, so he's basically he's opening the door for them, letting them come and move in with him, so to speak. And so he's laying down the rules. You have to know what the rules are when you move in to a home with somebody. So that's basically what this chapter is: preparation for them before they come into the land. So let's go ahead and say the blessing, and we'll begin.
Baruch et Yahweh Chambora.
Baruch Yahweh
Chambora leolam vaed. Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikoch hamim. Vanatan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Yahweh noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at chapter 18.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, I am Yahweh your Elohim. Do not do as they do in the land of Mizraim, where you dwelt, and do not do as they do in the land of Canaan, where I am bringing you, and do not walk in their laws. Do my right rulings and guard my laws, to walk in them. I am Yahweh your Elohim. And you shall guard my laws and my right rulings, which a man does and lives by them. I am Yahweh. No one is to approach anyone of his own flesh to uncover his nakedness. I am Yahweh. The nakedness of your father or the nakedness of your mother, you do not uncover. She is your mother. You do not uncover her nakedness.
Okay. So we're going to hear the first 7 verses in the Hebrew. And just before we get to that, some words that you're going to hear frequently. So Vaydaber is speak, right? Yahweh spoke. Vaydaber. And you're going to hear also, let me get my paper here. You're also going to hear Ani Yahweh Elohim. I am Yahweh your Elohim. In this case, in the recording, he is Adonai. So Ani Adonai Elohim. And then, or you'll hear Ani Adonai, Ani Yahweh, I am Yahweh. You'll also hear Lo taasu, not do, that you shall not do, right? Lo taasu. Okay. And also Chukotay, which means my statute, and Mishpatay, my judgment. Okay. And Ervah is nakedness. So those are some key words. Those are also in the description and in the email. So you guys can take a look at those. Okay, let's go ahead and hear that in the Hebrew.
וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, כמעשה ארץ מצרים אשר ישבתם בה לא תעשו, וכמעשה ארץ כנען אשר אני מביא אתכם שמה לא תעשו, ובחוקותיהם לא תלכו. את משפטי תעשו, ואת חוקותי תשמרו ללכת בהם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. ושמרתם את חוקותיי ואת משפטיי, אשר יעשה אותם האדם וחי בהם, אני אדוני. איש איש אל כל שאר בשרו, לא תקרבו לגלות ערווה, אני אדוני. ערוות אביך וערוות אמך לא תגלה, אמך היא לא תגלה ערוותה.
Okay. And verse 8, 18:8. The nakedness of your father's wife you do not uncover, it is your father's nakedness. The nakedness of your sister, the daughter of your father, or the daughter of your mother, whether born at home or elsewhere, their nakedness you do not uncover. The nakedness of your son's daughter, or your daughter's daughter, their nakedness you do not uncover, for theirs is your own nakedness. The nakedness of your father's wife's daughter, brought forth by your father, she is your sister, you do not uncover her nakedness. The nakedness of your father's sister, you do not uncover, she is your father's flesh. The nakedness of your mother's sister, you do not uncover, for she is your mother's flesh. The nakedness of your father's brother, you do not uncover, you do not approach his wife, she is your aunt. The nakedness of your daughter-in-law, you do not uncover, she is your son's wife, you do not uncover her nakedness. The nakedness of your brother's wife, you do not uncover, it is your brother's nakedness. The nakedness of a woman and her daughter, you do not uncover, nor do you take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness. They are her relatives, it is wickedness. Okay? And do not take a woman as a rival to her sister to uncover her nakedness while the other is alive. I read to verse 18. Let's hear that in the Hebrew.
ערוות אשת אביך לא תגלה, ערוות אביך היא. ערוות אחותך בת אביך או בת אמך, מולדת בית או מולדת חוט, לא תגלה ערוותן. ערוות בת בנך או בת בתך, לא תגלה ערוותן, כי ערוותך הנה. ערוות בת אשת אביך, מולדת אביך, אחותך היא, לא תגלה ערוותה. ערוות אחות אביך לא תגלה, שאר אביך היא. ערוות אחות אמך לא תגלה, כי שאר אמך היא. ערוות אחי אביך לא תגלה, אל אשתו לא תקרב, דודתך היא. ערוות כלתך לא תגלה, אשת בנך היא, לא תגלה ערוותך. ערוות אשת אחיך לא תגלה, ערוות אחיך היא. ערוות אישה וביתך לא תגלה, את בת בנך ואת בת ביתך לא תיקח לגלות ערוותך, שערה הנה, זימה היא. ואישה אל אחותך לא תיקח, לצרור לגלות ערוותך עליה בחייה.
Okay, in verse 19.
And do not approach a woman to uncover her nakedness in her monthly separation of uncleanness. And do not have intercourse with the wife of your neighbor to defile yourself with her. And do not give any of your offspring to pass through to Molech. And do not profane the name of your Elohim. I am Yahweh. And do not lie with a male as with a woman. It is an abomination. And do not have intercourse with any beast to defile yourself with it. And a woman does not stand before a beast to mate with it. It is a perversion. Do not defile yourselves with all these, for by all these the nations are defiled, which I am driving out before you. Thus the land became defiled. Therefore I punish it for its crookedness, and the land vomited out its inhabitants. But you shall guard my laws and my right rulings, and not do any of these abominations. The native nor stranger who sojourns among you, because the men of the land who were before you have done all these abominations, and thus the land became defiled. So let not the land vomit you out for defiling it, as it vomited out the nations that were before you. For whoever does any of these abominations, those beings who do them shall be cut off from among their people, and you shall guard my charge, so as not to do any of these abominable practices which were done before you, so as not to defile yourselves by them. I am Yahweh, your Elohim.
Okay, so that was to the end of chapter 18 to verse 30. Let's read that in the Hebrew.
ואל אישה בנידת טומאתה לא תקרב לגלות ערוותה. ואל אשת עמיתך לא תיתן שחובתך לזרע לטומאתה. ומזרעך לא תיתן להעביר למולך, ולא תחלל את שם אלוהיך, אני אדוני. ואת זכר לא תשכב משכבי אישה, תועבה היא. ובכל בהמה לא תיתן שחובתך לטומאתה. ואישה לא תעמוד לפני בהמה לרבעה, תבל הוא. אל תטמאו בכל אלה, כי בכל אלה נטמאו הגויים, אשר אני משלח מפניכם. ותטמא הארץ, ואפקוד עוונה עליה, ותקיא הארץ את יושביה. ושמרתם אתם את חוקותיי ואת משפטיי, ולא תעשו מכל התועבות האלה, האזרח והגר הגר בתוככם. כי את כל התועבות האל עשו אנשי הארץ אשר לפניכם, ותטמא הארץ, ולא תקיא הארץ אתכם, וטמאכם אותך, כאשר קאה את הגוי אשר לפניכם. כי כל אשר יעשה מכל התועבות האלה, ונכרתו הנפשות העושות מקרב עמם, ושמרתם את משמרתי, לבלתי עשות מחוקות התועבות אשר נעשו לפניכם, ולא תטמאו בהם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Okay, and we're going to jump right into chapter 19. We have a double portion, so we're going to go ahead and do chapter 19.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to all the congregation of the children of Israel, and say to them, Be set apart, for I am Yahweh your Elohim, I am set apart. Each one of you should fear his mother and his father, and guard my Shabbat. I am Yahweh your Elohim. Do not turn to idols, and do not make for yourselves molded mighty ones. I am Yahweh your Elohim. And when you bring a peace offering to Yahweh, bring it for your acceptance. It is eaten the same day you slaughter it, and on the next day, and that which is left on the third day is burned by fire. So, if it is eaten at all on the third day, it is abominable, it is not accepted. And he who eats it bears his crookedness, because he has profaned the set-apart offering of Yahweh, and that being shall be cut off from his people.
Let's hear the verse 8 in the Hebrew. So we're going to read the chapters, and then we're going to explain a little bit and comment on it. But let's go ahead and hear that in the Hebrew.
וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל כל עדת בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, קדושים תהיו, כי קדוש אני אדוני אלוהיכם. איש אמו ואביו תיראו, ואת שבתותי תשמורו, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אל תפנו אל האלילים, ואלוהי מסריחה לא תעשו לכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. וכי תזבחו זבח שלמים לאדוני, לרצונכם תזבחוהו. ביום זבחכם יאכל, וממחרת, והנותר עד יום השלישי, באש ישרף. ואם האכול יאכל ביום השלישי, תיגול הוא, לא ירסה. ואוכליו עוונו יישא, כי את קודש אדוני חילל, ונכרתה הנפש ההיא מעמיה.
Okay. Verse 9. And when you reap the harvest of your land, do not completely reap the corners of your field or gather the gleanings of your harvest. And do not glean your vineyard or gather every grape of your vineyard. Leave them for the poor and the stranger. I am Yahweh your Elohim. Do not steal, do not lie, do not deceive one another. Do not swear falsely by my name, and so profane the name of Yahweh your Elohim. I am Yahweh. Do not oppress your neighbor or rob him. The wages of him who is hired is not to remain with you all night until morning. Do not curse the deaf or put a stumbling block before the blind, but fear your Elohim. I am Yahweh. Do no unrighteousness in right ruling. Do not be partial to the poor or favor the faith of the great, but rightly rule your neighbor in righteousness. Do not go slandering among your people. Do not stand against the blood of your neighbor. I am Yahweh. Do not hate your brother in your heart. Reprove your neighbor for certain and bear no sin because of him. I read to 17. Let's go ahead and hear that in the Hebrew.
ובקוצריכם את קציר ארצכם, לא תכלה פאת שדך לקצור, ולקט קצירך לא תלקה. וכרמך לא תעולל, ופרת כרמך לא תלקט. לעני ולגר תעזוב אותם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. לא תגנובו, ולא תכחשו ולא תשקרו איש בעמיתו, ולא תשבעו בשמי לשקר, וחיללת את שם אלוהיך, אני אדוני. לא תעשוק את רעך ולא תגזול, לא תלין פעולת שכיר איתך עד בוקר. לא תקלל חרש, ולפני עיוור לא תיתן מכשול, ויראת מאלוהיך, אני אדוני. לא תעשו עוול במשפט, לא תישא פני דל, ולא תהדר פני גדול, בצדק תשפוט עמיתך. לא תלך רכיל בעמך, לא תעמוד על דם רעך, אני אדוני. לא תשנא את אחיך בלבביך, תוכיח את עמיתך, ולא תישא עליו חטא.
Okay. And verse 18.
Do not take vengeance or bear a grudge against the children of your people, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Yahweh. Guard my laws. Do not let your livestock mate with another kind. Do not sow your field with mixed seed, and do not put a garment woven of two sorts of thread upon you. And when a man has intercourse with a woman who is a female servant, engaged to a man and who has not at all been ransomed nor redeemed, there should be an inquiry, but they are not put to death because she was not free. And he shall bring his guilt offering to Yahweh to the door of the tent of meeting, a ram as a guilt offering. And the priest shall make atonement for him with the ram of the guilt offering before Yahweh for his sin which he has done, and the sin which he has sinned shall be forgiven him. And when you come into the land and have planted all kinds of trees for food, then you shall reckon their fruit as uncircumcised. For 3 years it is as uncircumcised to you. It is not eaten.
Let's read the verse 23 in the Hebrew.
לא תקום ולא תיטור את בני עמך, ואהבת לרעך כמוך, אני אדוני. את חוקותיי תשמורו, בהמתך לא תרביע כלאיים, שדך לא תזרע כלאיים, ובגד כלאיים שעטנז לא יעלה עליך. ואיש כי ישכב את אישה שכבת זרע, והיא שפחה נחרטת לאיש, והופדי לא נפדת, או חופשה לא ניתן לך, ביקורת תהיה, לא יומתו כי לא חופשה. והביא את אשמו לאדוני אל פתח אוהל מועד, אל אשם, וכיפר עליו הכהן באל האשם לפני אדוני, על חטאתו אשר חטא, ונסלח לו מחטאתו אשר חטא. וכי תבואו אל הארץ, ונטעתם כל עץ מאכל, וערלתם עורלתו את פריו, 3 שנים יהיה לכם ערלים, לא יאכל.
Okay. So we read the verse 23. Let's continue with verse 24. And in the 4th year, all its fruit is set apart, praise to Yahweh. And in the 5th year, you eat its fruit, so that it increases yield to you. I am Yahweh your Elohim. Do not eat meat with the blood. Do not practice divination or magic. Do not round the corner of your head, nor destroy the corner of your beard. Do not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor put tattoo marks on you. I am Yahweh. Do not profane your daughter by making her a whore, so that the land does not whore, and the land becomes filled with wickedness. Guard my Shabbats and reverence my set-apart place. I am Yahweh. Do not turn to mediums, and do not seek after spirits to be defiled by them. I am Yahweh your Elohim. Rise up before the gray-headed, and you shall favor the face of an old man, and shall fear your Elohim. I am Yahweh. And when a stranger sojourns with you in your land, do not oppress him. Let the stranger who dwells among you be to you as the native among you, and you shall love him as yourselves, for you were strangers in the land of Mizraim. I am Yahweh your Elohim. We'll read here to verse 34 in the Hebrew.
ובשנה הרביעית יהיה כל פריו קודש הילולים לאדוני. ובשנה החמישית תאכלו את פריו, להוסיף לכם תבואתו, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. לא תאכלו על הדם, לא תנחשו ולא תעוננו, לא תקיפו פאת ראשכם, ולא תשחית את פאת זקניך. וסרט לנפש לא תיתנו בבשרכם, וכתובת קעקע לא תיתנו בכם, אני אדוני. אל תחלל את ביתך להזנותך, ולא תזנה הארץ, ומלאה הארץ זימה. את שבתותיי תשמורו, ומקדשי תיראו, אני אדוני. אל תפנו אל האובות ואל הידעונים, אל תבקשו לטומאה בהם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. מפני שיבה תקום, והדרת פני זקן, ויראת מאלוהיך, אני אדוני. וכי יגור איתך גר בארצכם, לא תונו אותו. כאזרח מכם יהיה לכם הגר הגר איתכם. ואהבת לו כמוך, כי גרים הייתם בארץ מצרים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Okay, and we're going to hear the last few verses, 35, 37.
Do no unrighteousness in right ruling, in measuring of length, in weight, or in measuring liquids. Have right scales, right weights, a right ephah, and a right hin. I am Yahweh your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim. And you shall guard all my laws and all my right rulings, and do them. I am Yahweh.
Okay, let's hear that in the Hebrew.
לא תעשו עוול במשפט, במידה, במשקל ובמשורה. מאזני צדק, אבני צדק, איפת צדק והין צדק יהיה לכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים. ושמרתם את כל חוקותיי ואת כל משפטיי, ועשיתם אותם. אני אדוני.
Okay, and that is the end. So we can go over a little bit of what we read. Okay, so if we go back to chapter 18 from the beginning, so we were talking about how it's really preparing the people to come into the land that Yahweh is giving them, right? So the very first thing he tells them in 18:3 is do not copy Egypt where you came from, and do not copy Canaan where you are going, right? So do not imitate them. Do not take on their traditions, their practices of the way they worshipped their pagan gods, right? So they had to be separate and different. So these laws were really meant to distinguish them from other nations, right? So the wrongdoings the wrongdoings that Yahweh is telling him here not to do, particularly referring to incest and everything, all of these were permitted. Well, many of these were permitted in the other nations, right? So Yahweh telling them they're not allowed to do that. And then so the verses 6 through 20, this covers the laws regarding incest and adultery. Okay. And then in verse 21, you see how he says, do not give any of your offspring to pass through to Molech. So that is referring to a practice where they would have them go through fire, right? And it was a pagan tradition, and he's telling them not to do that. And I think it's interesting. I just noticed right now that he put it together. The next half of the verse, do not profane the name of your Elohim. I am Yahweh. So basically saying that Yahweh requires you to sacrifice your children in fire would be profaning his name, right? Would be to profane it. So we're not to do that.
Of course, because we are made according to his image. So it'll be like putting him on a bad spot, right? My children are going to be passing through the fire. When did I requested that, right?
Yep. Okay, and then the next verse, 22, and I know that's it's not politically correct, if you will, but verse 22 is directly a prohibition against homosexuality, and there are other verses here as well that refer to it, how it's not permitted, the homosexuality. And again, it's not that we hate the person. It's not hate. It's just it's not allowed by Yahweh. Right? He says not to do it. And obviously, the person when they repent are welcomed in to the nation. Right. So, verse 24. Let me see. Let's look at verse 24. Do not defile yourself with all these, for by all these the nations are defiled, which I am driving you out. So they are coming into this land, and the other nations are leaving because they did all these things that defile the land. I think it's interesting that it's talking about the land becoming contaminated and how the land vomits them out. I think it's interesting like that, the way it's phrased in that way. And then if we look at chapter 19, so in verse 3, it talks about respecting your father and your mother and keeping Shabbat, right?
And how it puts them together, right?
Yeah.
Fear your mother and your father and guard my Shabbats. And they are like on the same statutes, on the same stature or the same level. That's very, very interesting.
Right. That's true. They put them together. There's also another prohibition against idolatry in verse 4. And then in verse 6, he's talking about the meat, which they had to eat the first day or the second day, but by the third day, they shouldn't eat it anymore. And really, that might be due to like if they didn't have a way of really preserving the meat, it would go bad. Maybe so I'm telling them not to eat it for them to be safe when it would go bad. That might be referring to that. And then in 9 and 10, you're supposed to leave some of the harvest for the poor. You shouldn't take completely everything from your field, but you should leave the corners and leave something for the poor. And then in verse 11, do not steal, do not lie, do not deceive one another, right? And do not swear falsely. So don't take Yahweh's name in vain by swearing a lie, right? And verse 14 is really interesting that it says not to curse the deaf or put a stumbling block before the blind. So I think that can be expanded kind of to mean that you shouldn't hurt the people who are defenseless or hurt the people who are vulnerable, right? These are people who depend on others for help, right? And you shouldn't hurt them. And I think it also referring to not to think that you'll get away with it, like cursing the deaf, well, they won't hear you, and putting something in front of a blind person, well, they won't know who it is, right? But he's saying, fear your Elohim, right? Fear your Elohim. So he's saying, don't think you're going to get away with it. Yahweh knows who, everything that you're doing, right? So you won't get away with it. And then in verse 15, to judge fairly. And the next part, it talked about not gossiping. So do not go slandering among the people, right? So gossip is just as bad as all these other problems that he's talking about.
Evil practices.
Away from, yeah. And then in 26 and 31, it's talking about do not practice divination or magic, right? Do not go after mediums, after spiritists in verse 31. Right? And this is referring to also, this includes, the board games that have to do with divination, like the Ouija board, the children right now, they have the Charming Charlie thing. All that stuff is prohibited by Yahweh. It's all divination. And then just also be careful with anything with magic and witchcraft in the movies and TV shows. It's all over the place, so let's be careful with that.
Not just that. The bad part or the danger on this is that they put curses on you, and people do not even know that. They give you something, but at the same time, they're cursing you. And you're cursing yourself when you are going against Yahweh. Because he said not to do that. So the minute you enter into that, you completely get into the hands of the enemy.
Mm-hmm. So, and then in verse 27, it's talking about do not round the corner of your head, nor destroy the corner of your beard. And so this is actually, I think, referring to pagan practices, right, where they would round the corner of their head, maybe trying to make like a symbol of the sun or something like that. And they would also do it for mourning, when they were mourning. It was the pagan practice for mourning. Even now, there are some traditions of shaving all of their head, and they give it as an offering, right? So he's saying not to do this. So you shouldn't let your hair grow wild either, right? So you shouldn't shave it all off. You shouldn't let it grow wild. It should just be like trim, normal hair with and beard for the men, right? So verse 28, it says not to put any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, and no tattoo marks for you. I know it's very popular right now, but the scripture specifically says not to put tattoos. And I believe the reason for that is because of where they come from. I think it's related to how they would honor the dead with tattoos or something like that. So we'll have to look into that more. But that's there. In verse 29, it talks about not profaning your daughter by making her a whore. And so really any time that there's prostitution in the scriptures, it could be that it's an image of Yahweh's nation falling to idolatry, right? Because idolatry is the same as prostitution in terms of the nation, the people falling into idolatry. Verse 32, we have again another more respect for the elders, right? So you have to stand up right before the gray-headed, right? So you just treat respect for the elders. All right. And then in verse 33, the next part, it's talking about how to treat a stranger. You should have be kind to them, have empathy with them, because you were there. You were in that spot where you were a stranger before. And so you should treat them the way you wanted to be treated back then. So 35 and 36, the last part of chapter 19, deals with being fair in business, right? Have right scales, right weight. So don't cheat people. Be fair in your business, right? And basically all these rules and laws are there so that they would have a long and good time in that land, right? So that their time dwelling in that land that was a gift from Yahweh would be good, and it would be long. We see later when they fail to keep these rules and regulations is when their enemies would come and take them away, and they would be exiled from the land, right? So the land again spit them out. So also these rules were meant to set Israel apart, to set them as an example for the other nations, so that they would bring honor in the eyes of the other nations, right?
To Yahweh.
Yeah, but it would make them honorable in the eyes of other nations, and then they would praise Yahweh, right? So we can see that in Deuteronomy 4:6. He says, "And you shall guard and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding before the eyes of the peoples who hear all these laws. And they shall say, only a wise and understanding people is this great nation. For what great nation is there which hath Elohim so near to it, as Yahweh our Elohim is to us, whenever we call on him?
Amen.
And what great nation is there that has such laws and righteous right rulings like all this Torah, which I set before you this day?" Okay. So that was Deuteronomy 4:6-8. And we'll, do you have any other comment?
Yes, how in the mind or of the cultures that are not familiar with the laws of Israel, the set apartness of the nation, the set apartness of Yahweh, many times they want to make comments on this based on let's say the Greek mind, which is something that nowadays continues throughout most of the nations. And unfortunately, they do not see that set apartness or being right in the eyes of Yahweh is not something symbolic or just a thought, but it's something concrete. it's something that you do every day. So being set apart, being kadosh or holy, like people say, being set apart for Yahweh, it has to do with certain conduct, something external that you do with your life. So Yahweh doesn't want us to talk something and then do something different, but to whatever we say, we should do. So we see here only these laws because whenever we do those practices, we are considered pagan. We are considered like we have no law. And it's very sad that nowadays you see people say, no, that's not for us. That's for the Jewish people. But Abba didn't say that. These laws are for everyone. And even for the people that didn't know about it, the Jewish people were supposed to teach it. The Israelis were supposed to teach other people about this so that they will exalt Yahweh. And people will say, wow, this is the kind of Elohim we want, right? So to imitate them, to copy them, to do the same as they did. So,
All right, we can play the blessing to close, and we'll continue on Friday.
Baruch atah Yahweh, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'toreinu. Baruch atah Yahweh, noten haTorah. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, guys.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom and have a blessed day.
Have a blessed day. Shalom.